So yesterday we talked about how to graph linear equations, and today we're going to remind you how to write them. Okay, so we're going to talk about, there was one form that some of you mentioned yesterday that you used to graph. And I'll be honest with you, I think the only times you used this one form to graph was when it was presented to you on a placement test. It was not something that is stereotypically given to you on homework. So what we're going to work on today is writing linear equations, and this is going to have a good focus in on the point-slope form. I think the point-slope form is actually the most useful form. It's faster than finding a slope and plugging in a coordinates of a point and the slope into slope-intercept form and figuring out the b and then plugging the b back in and having an equation. So I think point-slope form is way more efficient. So this comes out of lesson 13.7. Okay. So what I'm going to go through is a couple scenarios, and then what if none of these work? We have our friend, the point-slope form. So scenario 1. You are going to be given some information. The information that you're given is slope and y-intercept. If those are the two pieces of information that you're given, what would you use to write the equation? Josiah? Yeah, you use what they give you and you plug it in. So you would use slope-intercept form. Claire, are you going to write notes today? Y equals mx plus b. They gave you the m, they gave you the b, the y and the x are present. That's it, you're done. What if you're given the x and y intercepts? This is a little bit more challenging. How would you write an equation with this? JP? Okay. So the key, though, to find slope is we actually have to write those x and y intercepts as ordered pairs. Because most of the time, if we're given an x-intercept, it says x equals 3. But I need to know it as an ordered pair in order for us to use the slope. So we have multiple steps on this one. Write intercepts as ordered pairs. Then we're going to find slope, and we'll use our slope equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. We're going to substitute, oh, actually, we don't need to do anything more. What am I talking about? We have the y-intercept. It was given to us. We figured out the slope, so then we would use slope-intercept form. Always forget that piece. I'll write the formula here just to be thorough. Okay. All right. Third scenario. And there's actually two parts to this scenario. Given A, 1 point and a slope, or B, 2 points. And once we're given a situation like this, then we're going to use our new guy, which is theorem 13.8, point-slope form. Point-slope form is an equation of a line that passes through the point x sub 1, y sub 1, and has slope m is, this is probably, I dislike the most the way the theorems in this chapter are written. It's kind of like reading German, where you have to get to the very end to understand what verb is going on, what's the action. It's kind of strange. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. So the y and the x are actual variables in your equation. The x sub 1, y sub 1 are the coordinates of the point that's on your line, and this m is the slope. Now, in scenario 1, all we do is take those three pieces of information and plug them into the three places, the m, the x sub 1, y sub 1. Scenario 2, we have to actually calculate slope first, and then pick one of the points and put it into point slope form. Now, most of the time, for us, for Algebra 1 purposes, we never leave it in point slope form. We then solve it out to get y alone to put it into slope intercept form, or we get x and y together on the left, the constant alone on the right. We get rid of any fractions and we put it into standard form. By the way, standard form is the only form that you can't write into directly from given information. You actually have to start in a different form and then solve it into standard form. Okay. So let's do a couple of examples. I'm going to go to the next page on this one. So the directions are going to be give an equation of each line described. So the idea is when you're given information, you need to pick the smartest way to write this equation. So go with what you know. So in this one, I'm going to give you two problems that deal with slope and y-intercept. Oops, probably don't need to go that far. And we have two examples. Here's example 1, here's example 2. So in the first example, slope is 1/4, and the y-intercept is -3. Second, sorry, I did that wrong. On the first example, slope is 1/4, and the y-intercept is 5. On the second example, slope is -3, and y-intercept is -1. I was reading across instead of down. So, of the forms, which one is going to be the best one for us to use? Yeah. They gave us slope and they gave us the y-intercept, so that's going to be the best form for us to use. Now, the great news is we just stick them in and we're done. There's no calculations. So, for equation 1, y equals the slope of 1/4 x plus 5. The y-intercept is a +5. That's it. You're done. Second one, y equals the slope of -3x minus 1. Remember, the formula says y equals mx plus b. Your sign of your y-intercept dictates what the sign will be in front of your b. Okay? And that's it. Done. That was easy. Okay, what if I give you an x-intercept and a y-intercept? These are going to take a little bit more time. So, for example 3, the x-intercept is 6 and the y-intercept is -3. For example 4, the x-intercept is -4 and the y-intercept is -2. circle these up. That's problem numbers. Okay. So eventually, what form did we suggest was going to be a good one here? Yeah, we are going to use slope-intercept form. What's the big thing we have to do on these? We need to find slope. We already have the y-intercept, so we're not going to have to do any more calculations. Okay? So number 3, we take our two ordered pairs. Or two intercepts and write them as ordered pairs. So we have 6, 0, and we have 0, negative 3. And then we're going to figure out slope. Y over x, connect and subtract. I have a double negative on top, which becomes one big plus. I have 3 over 6, which simplifies down to 1/2. So I slip it into slope-intercept form. Y equals the m, which is 1/2 x, and the y-intercept was negative 3. Okay, so eventually, there's my answer. Number 4, I rewrite as ordered pairs, and I have negative 4, 0, 0, negative 2. I calculate slope. Actually, let's do it this way. Slope underneath here. And I have y over x, connect and subtract. So again, I have a double negative on top, so it becomes a plus, and I get 2 over negative 4, which equals negative 1/2. So then I substitute into slope-intercept form, and I get y equals negative 1/2 x, and then the y-intercept was negative 2. So I get negative 1/2 x minus 2. Okay? Okay, then this one is super simple because all it's having you do is take the two key pieces of information, plug into the new form. So we're going to have a point and a slope. So on number 5, the point is negative 4, 5, and its slope is 1/2. A lot of 1/2 slopes, huh? Number 6, the point is 2, 5, and the slope is 4. So again, this one is going to be point slope form, because that's the information they give us. So for number 5, we would have y minus the y-coordinate equals the slope times the quantity x minus the x-coordinate. Now, again, I have a double negative. I would never leave that, so you just make it one big plus. So the answer is y minus 5 is equal to 1/2 times the quantity x plus 4. So you got to watch your signs. And then last one, number 6. We have y minus the y-coordinate 5 equals the slope 4 times x minus the x-coordinate 2. So we get y minus 5 equals 4 times the quantity x minus 2. Okay, now let's see how well you remember this. This is your last example. This is slightly different. What if I tell you you have a horizontal line through the point negative 4, 7? How would you write the equation to that line? Rachel? Y equals 7. It passes through the y-axis at 7. In fact, every y-coordinate for every point on that line is going to be 7. So when we have a horizontal line, it's going through the y-axis, and all we have to look for is the y-coordinate. So if I change this and asked for a vertical line, through the same point, what would you write? What? It's got to be an equation. I'm hearing a number. X, because a vertical line passes through the x-axis, every point on that line will start with the x-coordinate of -4. Okay? So no work, just recognizing these two key pieces of information. Whoop. Whoop. All right, and that's it for tonight.